All right, good night, everyone. Just letting you know that it is 1 minute to 7. We'll probably give some others until around 5 minutes past 7 to join, and then we will get going with this webinar. All right, just 3 more minutes and we will get the ball rolling. And I thank you for showing up on time. And this is going to be a good webinar. I'm not going to keep you here long, but the information that I share, I believe that it will be beneficial to you. All right, in the meantime, I will start to share my screen and then start with this. And just reduce this a little bit. All right. Oops. Great. Just want to make sure that I can see. Okay. All right. It is now. Let me make sure that I am unmuted. Great. Okay, let me do that again. It is now 5 minutes past 7, and I will get started with this presentation. And all right, sorry, and slideshow. Right, this a minute because I need this to start from the beginning. All right, so welcome to this webinar, From Midlife Weight Gain to Balance, how to go from stubborn midlife weight to feeling good in your body again. Okay, so this is the first thing that I'm going to ask. How do you feel when you see or hear the words perimenopause and menopause? You can unmute your mic or you can drop something in the chat. All right, we got something in the chat.
Confused. Good night, all.
Good night.
Confused would be the word for me.
Okay, we got confused, we got a cringe, scared. Those are all valid feelings for sure. And oh dear, I'm advancing this too far ahead. Hold on. I do not want this advancing too far ahead. Sometimes technology does some things, and this tool. Okay, good. Right. All right. So we're here. Right. So those are all valid things. And I would share some of the words that other women would have shared with me are phrases they think about. It is a phase that you start to become old. You're getting put out to pasture. You're soon going to expire. Other things like it is an area, as one person said, you're scared, you're frightened, you don't know what to do, don't know what to expect, feel as though your body is betraying you, and feeling as though this is the time that you will start to become invisible. Other people said thinking about not wanting to be dry like a biscuit. And then there's on the flip side where women do say that this is the time that they realize that they can now feel comfortable telling people no. It is also a time for them to reevaluate and see how they want their lives to be. It is also a time of freedom, release, also a time of looking forward to when periods are going to end forever. So those are some of the things that women usually do share. And some do see it as a rite of passage as well, to moving on to another stage of their lives, wisdom, things like that. So you're in the right place if you're eating everything right, but still gaining weight. You want to get your spark back. You're tired of feeling stuck. You're ready to do something different and that's suited for this phase. And you know another diet will not work. So what is really happening? This is what is really happening. This is your depiction of your hormones and how they are all over the place. And because they are all over the place, that means that things are going to be changing in your body that you are not accustomed to. So that sometimes look like, and usually this particular phase usually happens around it could happen in your early 40s to mid 40s, and then it can last till about you are 50 or 51. That the average age of menopause is 51. So that is where you have not seen a period for 12 consecutive months. So that's what typically happens. But before you stop seeing your period, that is where you might experience things like brain fog, fatigue, tiredness, insomnia, other things like that. And also, this is a time where your brain is also recalibrating. So, whatever you do in this particular phase is going to set the foundation for your future years. So, what is happening here is also a wake up call for you to actually make sure that your foundation is set. All right. So, what happens if you don't address it now? Well, the weight will continue to increase around the abdomen, and that is what we call visceral fat, and that is the type of fat that causes different problems. It's not like the fat that you could just go and exercise and eat less and it's going to drop off. This one is like deep inside around your organs and things like that. So that is what you want to address. NCDs will creep up on you. So NCDs will be things like hypertension, that could lead into stroke, diabetes, things like that. And apart from the health side, your confidence will drop, not just in how you look, but in your ability to fix it. You will start accepting this as this is just how it is. So whatever my body is doing, whatever it wants to do, so I can't do anything about it. And then it will also affect other areas in your life because it doesn't only affect you, it might affect your performance at work. If you have a partner, it will affect your intimacy. If you have children, it will affect them as well. And as I said, with work, it depends on what type of work you do. If you are customer facing, like a customer service rep, it can impact that in terms of how you interact with customers as well. And you don't want a situation where customers are complaining and saying this person is piggy, or even your workmates that are complaining about you and it is affecting your performance. So, because of all of the symptoms that can happen, these are where it will have the ripple effect. So, that is why it's important for you to necessarily sit back and make sure that you deal with all of these things that are creeping up. So what's the real cost of not fixing this or just going around in circles? Wasting money on programs, supplements, and plans that do not work for this stage. And if you are following me on Instagram, I would have posted something in relation to how the food industry is marketing things aimed at women and especially using marketing words are buzzwords, like things marked with protein, or as you can see here, where there's supplements that have the word menopause on it. Basically, this is the same formulation that they are typically using for their normal brand, but because it has menopause on it, us going through that phase will be more gravitating towards that. And as this Dr. Farrow rightfully said, we call it meno-ick. When menopause becomes a sale opportunity before it becomes a healthcare priority. It is just people trying to make money. Supplements as well. I would have recently also shared where somebody, local person, was stating that she spent about $500 on supplements and nothing worked. And I will get into that as well. So that is one of the real costs. You keep spending money on things thinking that they're going to help, and some of these things don't do anything. Time spent starting over and over again and again with no clear direction. And that usually happens if you are following a zillion and one people either on Instagram. There will be OBGYNs. which share some information. Then there are also influencers that share information which might not be correct. And then you might be also subscribed to different newsletters from different persons that specialize in perimenopause and menopause. And then you might also be going on YouTube and searching for things. So you keep getting more information, but it is not carrying you anywhere. It's kind of like spinning a top in mud flicking it all over the place, but you don't have a clear direction. It's not like it's not a compass that is directing you to what you need to do. And then there's also the mental energy drain trying to figure out what is wrong with you. You're going to have symptoms trying to figure out why you're gaining weight around your tummy. You might go to the doctor and doctor might tell you, oh, you just need to go on a diet. You just need to exercise a bit more. You just need to eat a bit less. And you try that and then that does not work. And then you are trying to find other things. You might be going on forums. So that is a real cost. Your mental energy, your pocket as well, and then just generally feeling as though that, you know what, I don't know what to do. I'm frustrated. I feel isolated. I don't know where to turn. So, if you don't know me, hi, I am Renee Pritchlow. I'm the owner and women's wellness coach of React Fitness, which I have been running for the past 13 years. And over the years, I realized that yes, my clients are on the mature end and they need a different approach. So that is what I have been doing over the past few years, about 5 years, where I have been specializing in perimenopause because it is a totally different phase, totally different body, totally different approach that is needed. But I do have a master's in public health, and I would have done my dissertation, and it was about perimenopause in the workplace. I'm also a precision nutrition level 2 coach, and I'm also a ACSM certified personal trainer. So really and truly, I have you covered on all areas. There are other things that I could have put here, but this is just to let you know that I can definitely guide you and I am more than knowledgeable to be able to help you through this phase and anything that might come up for you. All right, so although this phase it seems as though that it is about doom and gloom, which I have been seeing. I don't know if you have seen that as well, but for me, it has been coming over as doom and gloom. And it is a time that everything is going to shift. Yes, everything is going to shift, but it does not have to be this doom and gloom and that you are going to die if you don't do certain things. So, this is something that I like to tell people so that you can have a positive overview or outlook. I know, yes, it is scary, and you might be saying, but right now, all the things I'm seeing, telling me about all these symptoms that I can get, so I can probably have a horrible experience. That is not necessarily the case. So, midlife is a chance to pause, reset, and realign with your body, your purpose, and your power. It's not about going back to who you were. So we ain't going backwards. It's about becoming more of who you are. The magic isn't in pretending that things haven't changed. I'm not telling you to ignore and say, oh, nothing has changed. It's in learning how to thrive with those changes. And I like to refer to us women in this phase as prime, and my whole framework is prime because we do know that midlife is also where some women do peak, and that is the prime of their lives. You might hear that your 30s is the prime. No, that's when you're trying to start out your life, and then in your 40s, you're supposedly supposed to have your life started, but we know sometimes that is not the case. Things pop up, but think of it as your prime. So the question that usually comes up, is it really just normal to put on weight in perimenopause? Well, yes, it is. Because of what is happening in your body, there's lower estrogen. So the estrogen is going to be spiking up and down, doing all different sorts of things. Sometimes your estrogen would be normal, and then it will go up on top of a hill, and then it's going to drop into a pothole, and then back up on the hill again, and then it might drop in a gully. So it is spiking up and down. Estrogen is really not stable. Progesterone, on the other hand, that is slowly going out of the equation, but just think of those two hormones. Those are your sex hormones. Those are the sister hormones that you were supposed to be releasing every month when you have your menstrual cycle. And your menstrual cycle is the first day that you bleed to the day before you bleed again. So your entire menstrual cycle could range from 25, 28, 35 days. Your period is part of your menstrual cycle. So that's where you have the ups and downs. But everything changes because they are reducing. They're still could be still spiking, but they're reducing. So the other thing is there is a lower estrogen, so likely lower serotonin levels. Serotonin is that hormone that makes you feel good and you're just like woosah, kind of. So when those levels drop, it's going to promote sugar cravings and you are going to want to eat down everything. So yes. And then there is higher cortisol since life gets very busy in your midlife years, and we are more sensitive to stress because estrogen again is dropping. Estrogen helps to buffer some of that stress. So those are just some of the things to really acknowledge. So it is common, but it does not have to be your normal. But it will mean though that you will have to put in extra effort and abandon some of the thinking that you had from before. There's somebody that needs to mute their mic. Let me just check here to see who needs to. Gaylan, could you mute your mic? Let me just mute it from here. All right, I muted. All right, just getting back to what we were talking about. Right. So the thing is that visceral fat increases by 20% during perimenopause. So that means that you're going to deposit fat in your tummy area around your organs, but you can control that. This is just a statistic to let you know that it will increase, but you can do things to mitigate that increase for sure. So I can be frank with you. What worked before? Nah, can work. No. So you might be thinking, really? I thought the standard advice that I get is going to work. Sorry to say, unfortunately, that is not the case. It is not going to work anymore. So just going through some of the common mistakes that you made that might be keeping you stuck. So, question time. Do you consume any of these foods regularly? So macaroni pie, coleslaw, and potato salad might be rice and peas swimming in gravy that is made with mellow cream butter. Chips and chicken with macaroni salad. I know that this is sometimes a Friday night flex or a Saturday night flex. Fast food. We know the fast foods. Red and white. The purple and yellow chef. Sweet biscuits, cookies that you might get, and different snacks that you might get from a snack machine at work, or might go over to a pharmacy that might be close to your work or something like that. Soft drinks as well. I know that there's some people that love a cold Coke, or pastry, and pastry like from the bread vans that might come around. When I used to work in corporate, there were three bread vans that would come around in the morning period. Yes, I can say I would have gone to them once or twice if I realized that the breakfast I had was not enough and my belly was touching my back and grumbling. But I chose the savory options like meat roll or a patty or saltfish patty. But what I observed is that most people, when they went to the bread van, it was the sweet pastries. So things like currant slices, turnovers, jam puffs, horseshoes, lunch cakes. And if the person had any donut type things, the cinnamon rolls and the jam filled donuts, the spiel, all of those things. So, question, are you eating any of these on a regular basis? You can unmute and say yes, no, this is not judging you or anything. It's just to find out if you are, so that then you will know that these things are not going to be necessarily the best thing for you.
Hi, good night,
Good night.
Rania.
Oh, sorry.
Uh-huh. Okay. Chantel, go ahead and then the other person. Go ahead,
Good night,
Shari.
Rick. These every Sunday will be macaroni for and potato, but not during the week.
Okay,
It will
all
be
right.
more like night foods, and I try my best to stay off these snacks. That's the truth. I cut back on soft drinks, so I try to drink more water now. So again, there gradually.
Yeah, and it's going to be a gradual approach because if you try to do everything cold turkey, I use this analogy, but this is what we get through to people is like you taking a crack addict off of heroin and not giving them the support that they need. They can go through serious withdrawal and will relapse. Relapse. All right. Shari, go ahead.
So I was saying no, I don't really eat a lot of those things, but the
Mm-hmm.
snacks, I find myself going in going into the snack container when like there are these times when I am so weak, like I cannot, I have to give in, and I just need to eat
Mm-hmm.
the either the sweet biscuit or a
Mm-hmm.
pack of the salted chips or something. And it's not that I'm hungry; it's just a craving that I cannot rid myself of.
All right. Sometimes cravings might be related to how much you are actually eating, or it could be related to that you are searching for that satisfaction. Because the thing is, and this is what I typically teach my clients, you might be eating something that is going to fill you, but you are still looking for that satisfaction, that thing that lights up your tongue when you taste it. So, for example, I might be telling a woman, like, let me just go back. You know that if you go out to dinner or something like that, you might probably get an appetizer or not, but you're going to get the main course. Main course will mainly be meat, some sort of starch. You might get vegetables with that or a salad. But then you see and realize, oh, there's dessert. And then you can do the movement to kind of push around your stomach to say, all right, let me see how I can fit this in. Because that is going to be that sweetness is going to satisfy your taste buds and it lights up your brain. It's a whole different thing that happens. So that could be what is happening. That yes, although you might be eating healthy, it is that you might be looking for that satisfaction on your palate, and sometimes that is what will happen with cravings. So I typically don't tell, if I realize that a client is like that, I don't always tell her to eliminate the starchy carbohydrates, just to have a little bit so it could actually satisfy and reduce some of the cravings. Or as I said, it might be in relation to how much you're eating, because if you're not eating enough, the cravings are going to come because your body might be saying, oh, thank you for feeding me, but I still am looking for these nutrients and I ain't get them, or I still need to feel some sort of satisfaction. All right, so mistake number one is related to that: constantly eating processed and nutrient void foods. In midlife, your body is naturally inflamed. So your body is dealing with constant inflammation, and these types of foods that I mentioned before will add to more inflammation in your body. So all of that to say, an inflamed body equals to weight gain, and that is what will happen. And I had a client of mine where she was having hot flashes probably almost every she was having them every day, and they were happening almost every hour. And that is because she was eating a lot of things that were sugary. So she would be eating things like little cakes and biscuits and chocolates, and then also having the sugar lace frappuccinos from one of the coffee places. And when we started to reduce the amount of sugar, tried to slowly weaning her off because we didn't want the crack addict situation happening, then her hot flashes started to reduce. And the thing is, if you don't know in terms of hot flashes, if you are constantly flashing, that is going to cause some issues in terms of leading on to mild cognitive decline. So that's a brain issue. And then it can develop into things like dementia, and Alzheimer's is a form of dementia. So if you are having hot flashes and it's constant, but you're saying, all right, I can let these just ride out. No, it is not a matter of letting it ride out because it can have ripple effects later on in your life. So just note that. So mistake on number two. And this is what women struggle with: under eating, especially proteins. Your hormones shift the way you store fat. So cutting calories will not work. The thing is, muscle is your fat burning engine. So what do you need to build muscle? You need protein to build muscle along with exercise. But if you're not eating enough protein and you're out there exercising hard, nothing can happen. In order to tone up, you need to build muscle. But if you're doing the wrong things and if you're on the eating, that is not going to help. And actually, on the eating signals a stress response in your body. And remember what I said before is that your body is more sensitive to stress during this phase. So, stress from on the eating, stress from life, just stress all the time, then that weight is going to shift and go towards your stomach, which you do not want. And I know it is something that is hard for women to do, to get over that concept of eat less, move more. We grew up in the era where we were hearing eat less, move more, low fat, low carbohydrates, trying to do a 500-calorie diet and thinking things will work. Yeah, that probably worked in your 20s and in your 30s, but it is not going to work for the body that you have now. Your body is going to be like, girl, please. No, that's not working. Your body is going to literally rebel like a child and say, nah, this is not working for us, for me. I can just hold on to the fact because clearly and truly hormone shift. So you have to shift how you're doing things. So just to show, I ran a 7-day protein challenge, free challenge recently, and it was just 7 days. And this is what women noticed when they started to increase their protein, because we typically would think that eating one egg for breakfast, if we do eat anything at all, two chicken wings, and then later on in the evening, you might see buy something that was labeled high protein, like a protein bar, and say to yourself, yes, I hit all of my protein requirements for the day. No, we typically need to get around up to 90 grams of protein. Yes, it is hard to do. I would admit sometimes it is hard for me to do that, but a lot of us are eating less than 50 grams of protein. So with this protein challenge, it was really just to encourage women to eat more protein. And really, to summarize, some of them felt fuller for longer, noticed bloating change. They really did see a difference and agreed with regular bowel movements and less bloating. Started off with protein, stay fuller for longer, and it decreased snacking. I remember someone, Shari, you mentioned about snacking. It decreased snacking, felt more energetic, and then someone else said that his stomach felt good after meals. And although, yes, it was challenging to eat at least 2 meals daily because of long working hours, the more protein she ate, the less snacks and sugar she craved. So that's just to show, if in 7 days, because of eating protein, women were able to get these types of results, imagine how that would look like for you if you do this for 6 weeks, 12 weeks, if you just continue it as a lifestyle approach. Mistake number 3, not managing your stress levels. And please note that being highly stressed and doing everything for everybody is not a badge of honor. Your body is going to legit tell you, no, that's not a badge of honor. High stress levels lead to weight gain, especially around the tummy. And I had another client that came for one-on-one nutrition coaching, and her personal trainer saw something that I posted and recommended her to me because she was quote unquote eating right, exercising, but not seeing any changes. So before we even started with nutrition coaching, and nutrition coaching will incorporate different things, it had to be constantly helping her to manage her stress levels, even getting to the point to actually getting her to take 15 minutes out of her day to actually sit and eat food without any distractions and stuff like that, to make sure that she is in a calm state to eat. And when she started to do that, she realized things started to change. Yes, it will be a slow change because switching off from being a high stress, high performance manager to doing things that are going to reduce stress it was still a mental thing that she had to go through. So just letting you know, you gotta manage your stress levels. If you are totally stressed out, it does not matter how much exercise you do, it does not matter how well you eat. If your stress levels are sky high, you're not going to digest your food, you're not going to absorb any nutrients, and you will hold on to weight. Mistake number 4, thinking you will fail again. The reality is that you don't need more discipline, you just need a method that fits your real life. And a lot of women are going to be hesitant to try something else because they might be going into the mindset thinking, I tried this thing before, I tried another thing last year, I tried about 17 things and nothing seems to be working with me for me. So yeah, I might try this, but I think I can fail again. And I think it is Henry Ford that said, if you think you will or you think you wouldn't, that is what is going to happen. So if you don't think that you will succeed, you will not succeed. If you believe that you will succeed, you will succeed. So your brain, how you think, is going to be a really big part of this. And let me see, just checking the chat quickly. Right. Yeah, talk about fed up fast. Yes. All right, let me just close this. Right. So sorry, going back to this. So yeah, so thinking that you will fail again. So it's a mindset thing. You're not going to fail. It is just adjusting your thinking to say that, okay, what worked before is not going to work now. So I can't go back to the things that used to work before because they will not. They will put you in, they will set you up to fail. So we don't want to be setting you up to fail. So that is where you got to start to adjust your thinking. First, starting with the fact that your body is changing. So the approach will have to change. That is a foundation. And then go into programs that are specific and specified for your phase of life and really understanding what is happening to your body and not using the very old approach of eat less, move more. And the 5th thing, taking a gazillion amount of supplements that thinking that they're going to help. And as I would have mentioned before, I did come across somebody that said that she spent about $500 in supplements and not one of them worked. And one is because it is being targeted and saying it's menopause, so it should work. There are certain supplements that you will take, but you do not need a shopping list of supplements. And as it said, it is a supplement to supplement what you're already doing. And supplements can help, but only if you have the basics covered. And the basics are things like eating whole unprocessed foods. So that is the things that we know from kindergarten, reception, that you're supposed to eat your vegetables, eat your good carbohydrates, eat your protein, eat your good fats, eat your fruits, and drink water and mind your business. We know that those are the things that we're supposed to do. If we stick to doing those things, a lot of things will help. And then when you take supplements, they will amplify the supplements. So, for example, vitamin D is a supplement that I will say that all women should take, but vitamin D will not work properly if you are eating a diet that is low in fat. So if you decide that you're taking vitamin D and drinking water just in the middle of the day, that is not going to work because vitamin D is fat soluble, meaning that it needs fat to dissolve and to be absorbed in your body. So if you got a long shopping list, cut down the shopping list. And these are some of the things that I do share in the programs in terms of what you should be taking. But the foundation, making sure that you're eating properly, managing your stress, hydrating well, are the things that will work. So imagine waking up and not immediately thinking about your weight. Because sometimes this thought about your weight, it can be riding you at night. You might get up thinking about it. Whenever you put on clothes or look in the mirror, you're thinking about it. If you're in the shower, you're thinking about it. But imagine not immediately thinking about your weight, getting dressed, and your clothes fit the way you want them to, having steady energy throughout the day instead of feeling drained and like a zombie and snapping at people, and eating in a way that actually supports your body without confusion. As I said before, this transition requires a different approach. Dieting is not it. Dieting in the traditional sense is not it. Can't be going on one diet, then coming off, or going on a program and saying to yourself, I cannot wait for this thing to done because when this done, I'm gonna eat a big set of chocolate cake. Yes, I have heard that many times from women that would have been on different programs that came to me and also showed me what these programs had them eating. And I look at them and immediately said, um, you were starving on this program. No way that you could fuel yourself with that amount of work, that you had to do. And it is not tailored to your lifestyle. So it's no wonder that things did not work out. So the truth is, you might not know what to do. Change happens, but change happens when you have the right structure, the right support. A lot of women do need support, accountability, and a method that actually works for your body at this stage. That is when change will happen. So that is what I do in the Reset, which is a 6-week online program. Typically, you just run this in January with all of the New Year fiasco, but we get caught up in that. But for quarter 2, this is the time for you to actually reset. Know that all of that dust has settled. This is the time for you to reset. And if you are a crop over baby like me, you can use the Reset as a program to actually help to prepare you for the crop over or summer season. So how does it work? As some of the things I would have mentioned before, we look at for sure stress reduction or what we'll call nervous system regulation. Because if you're high stress, exercising and work, eating well is not going to work. So that is so there are going to be, everything is going to be released in little modules or little reminders. It might take the same format as a 7-day challenge where I release information for you that you can actually follow along and not feeling bombarded by having to read a whole set of things or having to watch a long video. It's going to be short to the point. So it is about stress reduction and doing things that are going to reduce your stress level and not necessarily just adding something on your list to say, all right, tick, I did the meditation that Renee tell me to do. No, you don't want it to be like that. You want it to be something that you are like, okay, this is going to benefit me. It is not another task for me to do. It is just for me to like woosah and check out of life sometimes. So that is that. There's going to be an exercise component. And because everybody has different schedules, there will be exercise information released that will guide you in terms of what exercise to do. There will be recordings that you can follow. Or if you're already in the gym, and sometimes we step in the gym and we are totally clueless as to what to do. So we just go on all of the machines, like if we are in a playground and just play on everything, but there's going to be guidance for you in terms of how to structure a workout. And there will be a live session, one live session, and that is another program called Banded that I'm integrating into this, where it is a full body workout. Yes, it's going to be intense, and you use resistance bands like the booty bands, and you use weights, and it is to mainly soca music. So if you're a soca baby, you're going to be fine. If you don't really like soca, well, I don't know what to say. But there's some people on here that would have done banded, and they could tell you that yeah, it's a real good intense workout, real good exercise session. And yeah, sometimes you say that, oh my gosh, Randy, they say near kill me, but I would ask you, did you die? And the answer is no. And they keep coming back. So it gotta be a good thing. And obviously we're going to be focusing on food, and food is going to be broken down really into addressing the root causes of a lot of the symptoms that you might have. And one of them is going to be inflammation. Once you eat foods that are anti-inflammatory, then the inflammation will go down. And it's mostly going to be focusing on foods that you can find in the Caribbean, find in Barbados, that are going to be suited to you. So at no point in time, I might still put it just in case you're somebody that likes strawberries and blueberries. Personally, I have seen a lot of programs that say yes, they're high in antioxidants. However, they are expensive, and by the time they get here, their nutrient value has decreased because them does travel like a rich woman traveling. So they gotta get from the farm, might have to be packed in a truck to get transported to a hub. Then that hub either is going to have to fly out to Barbados or ship to Barbados. Then they still have to unpack that, carry it to the distributors. Then the distributors then have to distribute that to the supermarket. So that long set of traveling, everyday nutrient value is being decreased, and obviously some of these are high in pesticides as well. So we're trying to get as fresh food as possible, implementing things that you can go outside or beg somebody for breadfruit, mangoes, sweet potatoes, even moringa leaves. I use those a lot. So that is how this works. So it's like a whole system that works together. And you will also have weekly check-ins just to make sure that you're keeping on track, for you to ask any questions that you need to ask. And if you feel to share what you are eating, you can, but it is not mandatory. But some women do that to keep themselves accountable. But the main focus of this program is not necessarily to be another diet or what's not. It is something that is supposed to set your foundation that will help you to continue throughout your life. So it's not just a 6 week program. After the 6 weeks, you can do it over again or you can get additional help. But the point is to build the skills and habits that will carry you through. Then, although yeah, it might not be good for business, but when most of my clients finish any one-on-one nutrition coaching, which is the higher end program, which is, as I said, one-on-one, most of the times when I check back in, they say, yeah, I am still sticking to the habits. I'm still able to do what you taught me. I've realized that I'm now more conscious of what I eat and vigilant, and it does not feel like if it is something that I have to force to do or restrict it. It comes like a natural thing. So that is how I typically operate, where I'm going to give you the tools, then you are going to take off your training wheels and then apply these things. And if you need to come back, you can, because a lot of people do come back to me when they need a refresher, where they need to update, where they just need accountability because they know what to do, but the accountability aspect is what they're looking for. So with that being said, after 6 weeks, you will start to feel better in your clothes. You might feel more energized and less bloated. And as you have seen, within 7 days, a lot of women do realize that they were feeling less bloated. So if you're less bloated, that means that the pants or the skirt waist is going to be, is not going to be as tight as before. You have a clear personalized way of eating that keeps hormones steady. Yes, as I said, they're going to be up and down, but you got to work with what your hormones are doing. If you keep fighting against them, they're going to keep fighting back with you. And also to feel confident and in control of your body again. So that is basically what this 6 week program will help you to do. And as I said, you can always continue afterwards. And it will help you to address a lot of those mistakes that women keep making over and over again, because this phase does not always have the clear roadmap. You might try a lot of different things, but I said, once you have the right structure, right support, and the right knowing how to move your body in the way that supports you during this phase, that's really all that you need. And the basics. There's nothing magical or special. It's just switching around your approach and things will start to change for you. So the investment for this program, 6 weeks, is Barbados 300. We start next week, Monday. Yes, I know that is Easter Monday, but that is going to be really the onboarding for the program to actually start. And enrollment closes the 3rd of April, which is Friday, Good Friday. But if you don't get it at that time, the 4th of April is also fine as well. I got a question coming through, so I will look at that. So that comes to the end of the webinar. I hope you would have found the information that I shared useful, and I am now open for Q&A. So any questions that you want to ask, whether it's about the program, whether it's about the mistakes, whether it is about asking if a particular symptom would be fixed. You can ask questions. All right, go ahead, Shari. I see that your hand is up.
Well, this is a simple request. I just wanted to see, can you put back up the screen that had the pricing for the
Oh,
program, please?
yes, 300 Barbados. You can see it?
Yes, please. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So any other questions? And what I will do, I will also send out the link, but the very last link that you're seeing here, website.beacons.ai/react fitness, that will have the link to register. And actually, I could just put the link in here one time so that you would not have to go through that stress. Accessories, just the this. Okay. Let me just go to Jot Farm so that I can, let me just stop sharing this. I'm just going to Jot Farm so that I can get the link for you. All right, and in the meantime, any questions anybody has to ask me? Any additional questions, comments, observations?
Can you also share your social media handles? You had said something about if you follow you on social
React
media.
Fitness. Yeah.
Oh,
So I am
okay.
on Instagram. So that is, I will share that because sometimes people do put a T after the C and then say, well, you can't find this woman. So it is at React Fitness on Instagram. There, I also have a newsletter. So I will add your email address to the newsletter and you usually get good information that I share from the newsletter as well. Yes, Shari, we also had Chantel. All right, any other questions before I let you go ahead and enjoy the rest of your night? Deborah, Sandra, Gillan, any questions? I think one person did drop off. All right, well, if we don't have any other questions, Shari, do you have any other questions?
No more questions. I will either email you or message you with regards to the actual 6-week program that you
Okay.
indicated.
Yeah, that's not a problem. And you can always, if you think it's going to be quicker, you can always WhatsApp me as well. So I will just leave my WhatsApp number. We have a question. When exercising, what should you eat before, depending on what exercising you're doing, and depending on what time of day you are exercising. So, for example, if it is that you're exercising in the morning, some people do exercise without eating anything. But if it is like, and I would have noticed this myself when I just mix a bit of protein powder in water and add a little bit of coconut oil to it. That's and probably use that about 30 minutes before I exercise. When I wake up, I find that I am able to exercise a bit better and have more energy to get through the workout. But I am lifting weights and I do lift heavy compared, and I realize that I have more energy to complete the workouts compared to if I don't use anything. And I realize that I feel a bit more tired as well. If it is that you're exercising in the evening time and you would have had something, a solid meal, probably about 2 or 3 hours before you go to exercise, you might not necessarily need to eat something else again. But it depends. If it is that you're just going for a walk, you don't need to eat food to go for a walk. So it depends on what it is that you're doing. And that is one of the things that I will cover in the program, guiding you in terms of what to eat, when is the best time to eat, how to fit it into your routine and things like that. All right, go ahead, Shari.
Um, Something that when the person asks, there's something that triggered my thought. So,
Mhm.
like you said, obviously going through this whole thing, this process, this perimenopause, menopausal process, obviously you're reading stuff, and some of these stuff appears to be conflicting.
Mhm.
One thing I would constantly see is as you're getting older, you need to lift more weights, well, heavier weights, because your muscle mass is depleting. So
Right.
you need
Mhm.
to do that, especially in terms of your structure and your stance and maintaining that.
Mhm.
Then on the flip side of that, you hear, but once you're lifting weights, you still can't go too harsh on your body, because then your body then see it as stress and you get the whole cortisol, I'm not sure how you pronounce that,
Right.
being
Yeah,
increased and stuff.
cortisol. Right. Mhm.
And then they say, okay, so you should probably do more walking. So I ain't like, okay, should I walk or should I exercise?
All
And
of the above. Go ahead. Let me
right,
hear the
so
other
then
things.
is that is where the conflicting things come, right? That's
Mhm.
one. Two, I get you with the supplements, because for real, I have found at one point in time, I was willing to try every supplement under the sun, because I think every week I was dealing with something different. Interesting enough,
Mhm.
I have not dealt with the hot flashes. I don't know how come, but I think everything else, from the pain in the hip to the pain in the shoulder to the pain on the bottom of the feet to this to
Mhm.
that to turn. But and the anxiety, I was never one to suffer with anxiety until about two years or so ago, and
Mhm.
I found someone had when I had spoken to someone about it, she had recommended to me magnesium glycinate, right? And I will
Mhm.
tell you, from 2024 July, I started taking magnesium glycinate, and within 2 to 3 months, there was no looking back. So if it's one thing that nobody can get me to start taking, is that, because after I started taking that, I did not suffer with the anxiety anymore. The whole getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning religiously every morning, regardless if I went to sleep at 8 or if I go to sleep at 12. I'm getting
Mhm.
up at 2 and I'm like up and like fully awake, cannot get back to sleep. But by the time I get to work, when you see 8 o'clock, 8:30, like I feel to dead, you know. So but I
Yeah.
would say that I found from the time July 2024, I started taking the magnesium glycinate when it was recommended to me. Never knew what it was, but if it's one thing, when you see my bottle is going low, I never not have that in my medicine cabinet, because my fear, I did not like that anxiety feeling. So somebody
Mhm.
had said earlier about being scared, but me being scared ends up being not wanting to experience certain things that I went through that I didn't like, that I didn't have before. And
Right.
then when I went through it, I don't want to go back there. So like, if somebody were to tell me come off of magnesium glycinate, I think I would start like getting a little anxious, because they'll be like, oh no, I can go back feeling that way again. So
Yeah, and that is one of the supplements that I recommend that women do go on. So there are a couple core supplements, omega-3 fatty acids, because we ain't eating enough fish and stuff like that. So that helps with inflammation, vitamin D, because a lot of women are deficient in vitamin D, and vitamin D is needed for a lot of processes. And the same magnesium glycinate, which helps to calm you, which helps you to sleep. Those are the ones that I do recommend for women for sure. So I know women might ask about things like ashwagandha and maca and black cohosh and all these different things, but those core ones, and you are a testimonial of magnesium glycinate working. So that is either magnesium glycinate that I would recommend, or magnesium L-threonate. So that one usually goes across the brain barrier and helps more so with brain fog. But for sure, those supplements are what I typically recommend. So it will never tell you to come off of magnesium glycinate. So you already know, if somebody tells you, man, you don't need to be on that, look at them with a side eye, like, right. Anyway, and then just to address the last question, because we will wrap up, it is there is a lot of conflicting information. So if we the part about exercising and it might be too much stress, that might be more related to if you did not have any sort type of exercise, because they and Sandra, that's a good thing. If you drop into sleep, you know how many women would love to be like, let me take this thing and boom, knock out. A lot of women like that. So you might probably just have to time it in terms of when you're taking it. You can take it at nighttime, and then it's no problem with you to be out sleeping cold. So please do not stop taking magnesium glycinate. Please continue to take it. But back to the exercise component where it might be too much stress on your body. So number one, if you don't have an exercise history and you go in the gym and you decide that you are going to push heavy, because sometimes people can be in gym and tell you, my girl, that is too late for you, increase that weight, and you go and increase the weight. Number one, that is going to cause stress on your body. You're going to take longer to recover because it's shocking your body. So just like you would gradually do certain things, weightlifting is something that you have to gradually do. And the other reason that they're saying that it might be stress on the body is if you are not eating enough to deal with the load and stimulus that your body would have gone under. If you are lifting weights, you have to eat. You can't be doing that and starving yourself, because your body can be like, oh, I can take forever to recover now because you went do bare foolishness. So you have to eat if you're lifting weights. And yes, you in this phase, resistance training is a non-negotiable because you need weight bearing exercises. It does not mean that you have to go in the weight and lift real heavy, but you need something that is going to stimulate your bones, because not only the muscle mass, we're losing muscle mass every single year, and muscle mass is that, as I mentioned before, is that metabolic engine that is going to help you to burn off fat. Muscle mass is also what helps you to move. So if you see older people and they lose their muscle mass and they look kind of soft and got problems with movement, muscle helps you to move well. Muscle helps you to stay upright. And then because we are not having the estrogen to protect us, our bones we're going to start to lose bone density. Estrogen help with bone density. So bone density is related to whether you're going to break a hip and recover, or if you're going to break your hip, stay in the hospital, and then in a year you're dead. That like just playing it straight. So weight bearing exercises help with bone density. So weightlifting is like the backup, because estrogen is saying, yeah, I done my work. I do what I had to do. So you gotta find another backup. So that is what you must include resistance training and not just cardio on an elliptical bike, because there's some people that still believe in cardio. Yes, they will get smaller, but they look small and still, as somebody said at a workshop, swivelly. So you don't want to look small and swivelly, you want to look small and toned, and the only way to do that is if you build muscle. And it is a lot harder for us to build muscle because estrogen is one of those hormones that helps you, and because we're more stressed, we're more sensitive. So it also goes back to making sure you enroll in programs that are going to help with that stress spike, because you're more sensitive to stress. So it is a whole different programming in terms of exercise. I will not tell a woman to go and do boot camp 5 days a week, because the stress that you're talking about, yes, that is the type of stress that is not going to be good for your body. It has to be designed for your body. Yeah, we can't catch a break. We don't catch a break. Not at all, right? So that is that. Yes, you should be walking as well, because not only walking is also can be seen as a way to reset, especially if you're walking in areas that have is nature, like if you're walking on a beach, or if you're walking in an area that has trees, or if you're walking out by the trail on a morning where you can see the sunset and the fresh air and all the scent from the cane and stuff like that. That helps to reset you. That helps to calm down your nervous system as well. So walking is also equally good, but you just can't depend on walking alone. You add in walking. So I would say, yeah. So lift the weights, make sure there's a program that is tailored towards you. Don't kill yourself and telling yourself, yeah, I'm going to boot camp 5 or 6 times a week, and then the man kill me dead because of this whole thing of no pain, no gain. I don't subscribe to that. Never did. So those are just some takeaways. So a nutshell, lift the weights. Don't be afraid to lift the weights, but do it gradually. And if it is that, yeah, you need the guidance with that, that is going to be in the reset program. Or if you want to meet all to yourself, you can also do one-on-one personal training where it is going to be tailored specifically towards you. You're welcome. I'm glad that this information is what you needed and it was timely. So if anything, I hope that all of you took away something from this. If I see you next week, Monday, I see you in the program. If I don't, you will still see me on Instagram. You will see me sending things with you via WhatsApp, not WhatsApp, via Substack newsletter. And also, if you do want to be part of the WhatsApp community where I just send out announcements, sometimes I might randomly do a challenge for people that are in the community. I will send that link for you as well in an email so that you can join. So yeah, so we 5 minutes over, but clearly this was some good information so that you stayed. So I am thankful that you stayed. I will also send the replay for you. So even if you want to share the replay for any of your friends that talk to you, because I know we women do talk and say, some women don't want to say anything. So if you have somebody that you know that this will benefit where they are frightened to say anything, then share it with them. Share my information so that they will not be in the dark. So Shari, I will send that. Let me see if I could get the link from here. No, if I can't, I will send it via email because sometimes things do some strange things. Let me see. Announcements. They get this link from here. All right, I have to figure out how to find, oh, okay, I got it. Copy link and put the link here. Great. Shari, the link is there for you so you can join. So just give you a couple of minutes so that you could get on and then let you go ahead and enjoy the rest of your night. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, just give me a thumbs up when you have it and then we can roll out. So anybody else that if you need to drop off, you can go ahead and drop off. But okay, good. All right. So you have a good night and looking forward to working with you and looking forward to having you. Well, you are officially a part of the React Fitness family. For the ones that were never part of the family, welcome. To the ones that are already in the family, welcome back again. So you're going to be covered. So you have a good night and we will talk at some point in time. Bye, everyone.